is Desiree staying with Paul Davis Restoration, and I am here with my friend Kirk from Country Financial, and we were just talking about the spring weather and this rain coming in, and we thought how confusing it is to understand the difference between all the different types of water damage you can have in your home and the coverage that go along with it. So we thought we'd take just a couple minutes today and throw some knowledge your way. So first, let's talk about the different types of water damage you can have in your home. You can have a flood, and a flood is when the body of water exceeds its bank and then gets into your home. And then you have groundwater. Groundwater is just any water that touches the ground and gets into your home through the foundation. And then finally you have a backup. A backup is going to be a sewer backup, a sump pump failure and backup, and then there is also water that can get in your home from storm damage. We're not going to talk a lot about this today because that coverage, which Kirk can talk about, is pretty easy, and it's also a lot easier to identify. So can you tell us a little bit about the different options with coverage and things that you think people need to know?
Sure. Water, as Desiree mentioned, is very, very confusing for people to understand. First and foremost, no water other than from storm damage is covered under a standard insurance policy. So floods, as you mentioned, that's not covered. And as a matter of fact, with floods, you can only get flood insurance for the most part if you live in a FEMA designated flood zone. So the government has designated certain areas around rivers and lakes as flood zones. And then if you live in one of those areas, FEMA has an underwritten program that offers flood coverage. The groundwater, no insurance policy covers that, unfortunately. That's looked at more as a maintenance issue with the basement or the foundation. So that's not covered at all under any circumstance, unfortunately. And then the most common one that we cover, and I highly recommend everybody having it on their policy, is some companies will call it sump pump coverage or water backup coverage. We see a lot of that in this area. It's actually our second most common claim next to wind and hail damage. And that means if water either comes back up from your sump pump or if water comes back up through the sewer system, which happens fairly frequently in our area because of the flooding that we start to see in this area now, causes pressure buildup, and a lot of times that comes back through people's pipes.
Yeah. And the great thing about this, and it's very confusing, but you don't have to know the difference. You don't have to know when you have water in your home or in your building, how did it get in here and am I covered? Because that's why you have great insurance agents like Kirk, and you also have restoration companies. One thing that we offer here at Paul Davis of Southeast St. Louis is we will go to your home if an agent calls us or if you call us and just take a look around and try to understand what's happened before you file a claim or before you try to determine where the water came from and determine if it's covered or not. So do you want to talk about, really quick, I think you guys
Sure.
offer something super cool with $0 claims. Can you talk about that? Because those are things that people try to avoid, but...
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple really unique things with our coverage in relation to weather, or if you have a claim come out and we create a claim for you and it turns out that it's not something that's covered, we don't penalize you for those claims, or a $0 claim, meaning that we didn't pay out any money. There are some insurance companies that will say, hey, you made a claim, so there's an issue there. We're gonna charge you for that claim and raise your rates anyways.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your knowledge and helping me out to explain this today. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, definitely if you experience some water issues or any fire, wind issues, definitely call Desiree and her husband Chris at Paul Davis. They do a great job. They can actually help you from beginning to end. They're not just a disaster remediation company where they take care of the cleanup. They can actually walk you through the whole process, including the assessment, cleanup, and rebuild as well, which is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.